We're going to start with some shoulder mobility today, shoulder stretching and mobility. I'm going to come down to kneeling just so that you can see me more easily, but you're very welcome to stay standing. All right, just because otherwise the height of the screen, etc. So let your arms hang down by your sides. Just give your arms a little shake out. But there's that light right down the middle of me. Okay, just literally shake it out. It's a great way just to stimulate the circulation and just get rid of any tension that might be lurking around the elbows, the wrists, etc. So you're just trying to shake the drips off your hands. Okay, well done, and relax. Superb. Just give your fingers a little wriggle and relax. Okay, let's go into some shoulder shrugs. Put your shoulders right up and drop them down. And again, lift right up and drop. Try just to let your head sit still. Keep your arms straight. I'm saying that because I can see my elbows sneaking out to the side. So that tells me where I'm a little bit tight, just looking at my performance there. Let's just do a couple more. And again. And relax. And then from here, we're just going to go for a single arm circle. Now, what I suggest, we've done this one before, I suggest you put one hand around the ribs just to hold the ribs still, leading with your thumb. Bring your arm right the way up so your thumb is pointing to the back. Now turn your thumb to the front. Take your arm right the way around and keep it going. Come to the center and rotate. So as you lift up, your thumb is pointing forward there, it's pointing to the back. Turn it around. Take it right the way around, but what you're trying to do is not turn your ribs to follow where your arm goes. So lift up, rotate, take it away and back, rotate again. Thumb in front, and then the thumb stays in the front. Let's do 3 more this way. So as I come back around, I'm rotating here, so my thumb leads, and then again, right the way out and around. Just a couple more. Now, I know I've said this lots of times, but feel free to step away from the screen and go and stand in front of the mirror to look at your posture, to check your alignment, to make sure that you're not twisting, bending to compensate for any areas that are a bit tight. Let's go on to side 2. So we've got our hand here just as a bit of a reference point to try to keep the ribs still. So that because what happens is when we lift our arm, it's quite easy to turn, to follow where the arm is going. And we want to keep the ribs centered so that we can really get into that shoulder. Okay, and again, don't forget the rotation top and bottom, right the way out and around. So when I get to the furthest point, I can feel how I'm wanting to just send those ribs backwards. So that's why having your hand here is just a little way to keep aware of alignment. Let's just do 3 more this way. Rotate at the bottom, rotate at the top. Watch you don't arch your back. So we're trying not to let the rest of the body compensate for those areas that are maybe a little bit tight, a little bit jammed. And again, great work. Right out and around and bring it back. I'm just going to come back up to stand and join you all. Now, we're going into our hugger tree, into what I've called the hallelujah. So I want you to imagine a great big tree, wrap your arms around it, little bend of those knees, push your ribs backwards, and then open your arms out, ta-da! And then bring your arms around. I want you to really feel how your shoulder blades slide apart, and then open your arms out and pull those shoulder blades together. And then again, wrap your arms around that great big tree and open out. Let's do another 3. Bring your arms forward, pull your shoulder blades apart, little bend through the spine, open out, lift up through the chest. Just 2 more here. Well done. And again, right the way out, and just 1 more like this. Bring your arms in and open, 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 and relax. Okay, now what we're going to do is a side bend, which is going to carry over into the back of the shoulder. I want you to take one, I'm going to kneel again so that you can see me. You can stay standing. 1 arm to the ceiling. Now get your arms straight. Take hold of your wrist and pull your arm up and over. So we're into our side bend, but then pull your arm slightly forward. Just your arm. Don't take everything else. Just bring your arm slightly forward And I want you to feel it running over the back of the shoulder blade there. So try not to twist everything else. And then come back to the center. Swap it over. Make sure your arm is straight to begin with. Up and over into your side bend. Get into the side bend first. Then just pull your arm forward slightly. Don't go so far that everything else gets involved. And bring your arm back up and up to the center. Let's swap it over. So pull your arm straight. Come into side bend first. Then pull your arm out in front. Feel that stretch running over the top of the shoulder there. Bring your arm back up. Return center. Swap your hands over. Pull your arm up. And again, over we go. And then just draw your arm out in front. Feel that stretch over the back of the shoulder. And come back up. And relax. Come and join me down on the floor. Now, if kneeling doesn't suit you, you can put the block in behind your knees or a roller so that when we take our hips back, we don't sit so far back. So for example, for me, it doesn't suit my knees to sit onto my heels. So this is a really good way to protect the knees. What I want you to do is come into 4-point kneeling and then walk your arms as far away as you can and just bring your head down to the floor. Come right out. Take your arms, just move my microphone so I know you can all hear me. Watch at this point that you don't sit back. Try and keep your hips and your knees in line. Take your arms as far away as you can. Rest on the crown of your head. Now it's an intense one. If you feel this is far enough for you, stay here. But if you feel you want to take it a little further, come up onto your fingertips, what I always call gecko hands. Come right up onto fingertips, elbows off the floor, and hold. Now, wherever you are at, can you now lift your head slightly and push your hips back a little way? He's going to really stretch out through the backs of the shoulders, right up and over the shoulder blades. And then take your hands flat to the floor and bring yourself up and travel your way forward. Drop your hips towards the floor and put your shoulder blades back and down. Let's do that one again. So from here, push up into 4-point kneeling. Now bring your head to the floor and walk your hands as far down away from you as you can without pushing your hips back at this point. So your hips are above your knees. It's quite a tough one, so don't feel obliged to go any further. But if you can, if it suits you, come up onto fingertips. Be kind to your shoulders. They're a complex joint. They're very easy to upset, terribly oversensitive. Not a little bit worse than the hips. Okay, and then from here, if it suits you, take your hips a little further back. Okay, put up on those fingertips or hands flat. Now from here, bring your hands flat to the floor. Bring the weight forward again. Lower your hips, lift up through the chest. Let your hips sink down towards the floor. Bring yourself back up into 4-point kneeling. And we're going to come up and over onto one side. So put my mic back on. And I want you to grab your block or your cushion. Bring yourself over onto side one. Knees are bent, knees are stacked. Arms out in front of you. Okay, just lift that upper arm and reach your arm as far back behind you as you can. And let it get heavy. Just be patient. Now, what you can do to start with is start with an elbow bend slightly and let the weight of your elbow open up through the front of the shoulder. What I want you to do is ever so slightly tuck your tailbone under you, keeping those knees in line. And if you want to, you could take your upper knee forward and put it on the floor in front of your lower knee if you choose. And from here, can you start to let your elbow become a little heavier? Let it pull slightly further down towards the floor. Never any force. So this is where it's important to be really patient. And then gently close your arm back over. And we're going to just do that one more time. Deep breath in. And as you breathe out, lift your arm to the ceiling. Carry on and take your arm back behind you. Something's
gone wrong with your mic.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry about that. Let your elbow pull further down towards the floor. You can keep your knees stacked, or you can use your upper leg as a bit more support to bring it in front of you. And maybe just bend your elbow a fraction further and draw it further towards the floor. But that's going to really challenge the front of the shoulder. So as always, just do what feels totally safe for you. And close your arm back over. Before we go on to side two, let's just roll onto our backs. I'm just going to quickly change ends of the mat so that I'm facing you all the way through. Roll over onto your back. You've got a block underneath your head. And I want you to take your hands to the ceiling. Palms are facing your knees and take both arms overhead. So the backs of your hands face the floor. Take your arms right the way back. Can you keep your arms straight? And lift back up. Now turn your hands, palms facing each other. And take your arms overhead so that your thumbs find the floor. And come back up. Turn your hands again, palms facing your knees. And one more time, take your arms overhead, right the way out behind you. And come back up. And just last time here, palms facing each other, overhead. Superb. And come back up. Now what I want you to do from here, please, is turn your hands, palms face your knees, and take your elbows right out wide. So your elbows are on the floor in line with your shoulders. Okay. And lower your hands, palms down. And lift up and take the backs of your hands up and over. And come up and flip your hands over, palms down. It's a really good one for getting into that rotation for shoulders. And up and over. If that's a little intense, alternate. This is what I call the Morecambe and Wise one. So one arm up and one arm down. Okay, so you're rotating out of the shoulder, but look, be careful not to collapse the elbow. You'll find that your hands try to sneak in towards you. So keep a right angle bend in the elbow. Option one, both hands work together. Option two, one hand goes overhead, one hand goes forward and down. Let's just do a couple more in each way. Okay. And relax. Superb. Wonderful. All right. So from here, I want you to roll, please, onto your second side. Knees are bent, arms out in front of you. Lift that upper arm and take it right the way away behind you. So again, you've got the option here. If you choose to take your upper knee onto the floor, maybe slightly bend that elbow and pull that elbow down towards the floor, but not at the expense of anything else. Make it all about the shoulder and the upper arm. So if you feel any stress, tension in your lower back, just first of all, make sure you're not arching your back. Secondly, maybe don't take your arm quite so far. Let's close it back over. And let's just do that one more time. Lift up and bring your arm right the way out. And again, just slightly bending that elbow if you choose to try and slightly pull your elbow back towards the floor. Get a little bit more into the biceps, into the front of the shoulder, into the chest muscles a little bit here. And close back over. Superb. We've got one more to do for our shoulders. I want you to come up to sitting, please. I think I've got the wrong top on for this microphone. I'm going to have to remember that in future. Okay, so coming up to sitting, knees are bent, hands on the floor behind you, fingertips facing back, sorry, fingertips facing back, knees are bent, lift up through the chest, put your shoulders right back, give your shoulder blades a really good squeeze. Now this one can be tough. So if you feel you're okay here, thank you very much, you can stay here. Otherwise, lift up and sit forward. Okay, so it's going to put a little bit more stress through the front of the shoulders. Hold it there. Couple of breaths. And then lift up and take it back. But all the way through this, you're pulling those shoulders back. When you need to, come out of it and recover. Then back up into it. And again, lift up, travel your hips forwards and squeeze those shoulder blades back. This is only as an option, remember. If this one doesn't suit you, you don't need to come here. And if you want to go further, walk your feet further away, and can you come even further still, but you're still pulling those shoulder blades back. And then lift back up, take a seat, and just to finish, bring your arms through and circle. Just a couple more times here. Well done. So just really focusing on our shoulders and our chest. And relax.